All right, we're back. This is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast, the 3Ds to Success, where we share stories of people who use the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination to overcome obstacles and challenges in their life. And today I have Mr. Barry Overton. Barry is a Gulf War veteran and a retired police detective with 26 years of law enforcement experience. Barry has initiated many different business endeavors, including concert promotion, a catering business, a security alarm company, and real estate. He has built a highly successful real estate business that spans over 19 years. Barry's most recent venture includes author and speaker. Barry has just released his first book, Ignite Your Greatness. Barry believes life is short, therefore we should live each day with the intention of fulfilling our dreams and doing the things that make us happy. Barry's purpose is to share with others how to identify their greatness and live it to their fullest expectation. Welcome, Barry. How you doing today?
Hey, man, I am great, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
And it's great having you. You're doing some great things. And share with us your story of how you use the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination in your life to overcome obstacles and challenges and arrive at where you're now at in life.
Absolutely. I love that name of the podcast, because the 3Ds are something you don't use them one time to get over a struggle and to move, on in life. There's always going to be new levels in life that you're trying to reach. And, that determination, determining your destination is going to be a constant. And that's one thing, just my story, it's been a constant in my life. And fortunately, at a very young age, I started having goals but they were, and the fun, we all have dreams. And it really just comes down to how focused, how determined we are as we get older, how we tap into those dreams. And, one of my biggest lessons in life was giving up on a dream, because that has stuck with me for 52 years of life. That giving up put me in a place where I said, you know what, I will never give up on a dream again, because it created regret. And regret, I tell you, man, is it's like a poison. It can be, or you can turn it around and make it the fuel for the fire for the next steps in life. Yeah. But, again, going back to as a kid and growing up in Austin, Texas, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, a football fan. And the thing that I wanted to do more than anything from probably the time of 7 years old to roughly about 15, 16 years old is I wanted to play in the NFL. That was the dream, the goal. And there was determination around that with the working out that I would do in the summer and during the season, and studying football and having an understanding of the game. And I got to a point in high school. Now, I know you're on the East Coast. I don't know if you've ever been to Texas, but Texas is like a football mecca, along with like Florida and California. It's taken very seriously in Texas. And it got to a point where I was, and again, I think this was more of me at 15 years old getting in my own head, but it got to a point where I was like, man, I don't know if this is really what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I started having doubt, in my dream and in my goal. And doubt is one of the worst things that you can allow to creep into your mind. It manifests into fear, and it will take you completely off track. It can be one of the biggest distractions that you have in life. This is something I learned later in life when I read the book Outwitting the Devil. And I understood that when Napoleon Hill, the author of Outwitting the Devil, when he was doing this interview of the devil told him, hey, I control the world and everyone in it by two things, and it's fear and doubt. Yep. And when I understood that, I could look back on every aspect of my life on something that I had given up on and realize that one of those two things played a part in changing the course of what the direction that I was going. So when I gave up on football, I found another goal and I found another dream. But I can tell you, I started to live into that dream, but all along the way, there was always this what if. I have a lot of friends that played in the NFL. Some of them had Hall of Fame careers and have had very successful careers in the NFL. And so I'm around that quite a bit. So it really put me in a position of what if I would have stuck with it? Where would I have been? And I had to get out of that place in life and realize, okay, I got to take this negative of regret and turn it into a positive of a reminder of what I don't want to ever experience again in life. And I can tell you at 17 years old, I made a decision that I wanted to be a police officer. I had a great role model in regards to that. My uncle was he was the Austin police officer. He was the first Black sergeant, first Black lieutenant, and first Black captain that the Austin Police Department ever had. So that was my role model. That was who I wanted to emulate my life by, because, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I came from some struggle, Section 8 housing, food stamps, a period of even homelessness there. And while my mom she was a hard worker and did everything that she could, she also suffered with some different illnesses and things of that nature. And amazingly enough, at 84, she's still here. I was just texting her before I got on today. And, she's been a rock in my life. But, again, we grew up with a lot of struggle, and I needed those role models. And my uncle was that role model for me. And during that time of figuring out, okay, law enforcement, it can be a dangerous job, but it's an opportunity for me. And I saw at 17, I couldn't become a police officer till I was 21. So I set a plan in place. I said, okay, I want to go into the U.S. Army and I want to be a military police officer. I'll get 3 years of training and then I can come out and I can be a civilian police officer. And I can tell you to a T, it's one thing to say, this is the plan, this is what I want to do. But it's a whole nother thing when you can actually execute the plan just as you stated. And it's funny how it works because, I always say that, I'm a spiritual man and have strong faith. And whether it's affirmations or prayer or whatever you're doing, it's funny that when you create a plan and it's in alignment with what God has for you, how everything will fall into place. And I did just that. I went into the military. I was a military police officer. A few months before I was supposed to get out, I got a job with a civilian police department. I did end up going to Desert Storm and serving in a war, and then coming back and going into civilian law enforcement, where I was in a small town in Alabama. I knew that I wasn't going to be there long. And I wasn't. I was there about 2.5 years. And I moved on to a bigger police department with the Denver police in Denver, Colorado. And I spent 21 years there. I spent 26 years total in law enforcement. And so that part of my plan really lined up. And there were other plans that I was putting in place along the way. With that. But yeah, that was for me at a young age of 22, 23, 24 years old, realizing, man, if I set these goals and I put the plan in place to execute them, and then I don't have any fear about taking the steps and taking the action to execute them, everything will fall into place. And it did.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing that, at that age, 15 years old, 17 years old, like I said, you gave up on your football dream, but you did learn the lesson of turning that around and making it into something else make it into another goal that you could pursue. You didn't let that just totally throw you off. As Willie Jolly says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And you took that setback of, giving up on the football dream, having doubts about that, and you channeled that into a whole nother area and you achieved success.
Yeah. Yeah, and it continued from there. As you were reading the bio, people, a lot of times when I tell them all the things that I've done, the businesses that I've owned, and especially when they hear, okay, 26 years in law enforcement, 19 years in real estate, and they look at me and like, how old are you? And it's like, for me, the thing about it is, once again, going back to that regret, I use that as fuel. Mm-hmm. And I told myself, there's nothing that I desire to do that I'm going to say, well, I can do that later. Because as we see, especially in 2020, tomorrow is not promised.
That's right.
And I refuse to put anything off. That if I say I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out if it's the thing that I want to do, and I'm going to take the action. I will never say, well, we can get to that. We'll get to that at some point. I go after my dreams, because when it's all said and done, I do want to have this, just huge bio of all the different things that I've experienced. And I can tell you some of them have been wins. Some of them have been, I don't like to say losses. I like to say lessons. And I took from those lessons and got better. But also at 15, 16 years old, I had this entrepreneurial spirit in me, even actually younger than that, because I remember probably 10, 11 years old, going around the neighborhood with the lawnmower, cutting grass all summer, raking leaves in the fall. I was always looking for a way to make money for myself as a kid. And it was just something that, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, as I grew up, even as a police officer, I had multiple businesses that I was a part of. Real estate is something that I jumped into in 2001.
Okay.
And I did it on a part-time basis because I was still a police officer, but I made a very significant income just doing it from a part-time basis. Wow. And always been involved in the direct sales or network marketing industry. I've loved the idea of residual income, being able to do something one time but get paid over and over and over for it. That made a lot of sense to me. And so I had some different endeavors there. And actually, one of those network marketing companies retired me in 2013. It retired me 10 years early. I've only been retired for 7 years. I should still be working right now on the job as a police officer. I don't even draw my retirement, and I will probably let it sit there until I have to draw it at 65 because it just continues to grow. But I love being in that position because, once again, for many years, I stayed in that job knowing that I wanted to pursue these entrepreneurial endeavors. I stayed in that job because of fear and doubt. Mm-hmm. It's scary when you have a six-figure income as a police officer and you're talking about walking away and just betting, as Mr. Brown always says, bet on you. Yep. And I had trouble pushing in all the chips and saying, I'm all in on me. But I can tell you, I got a mentor in 2012 that really helped me to build that business and helped to change the mindset. And 11 months later, after starting that business, I was able to push all the chips in and say, you know what, I'm all in on me. And I can tell you, I've never looked back. I can also tell you there have been challenges through that. I had one of the worst financial years of my entire adult life during that period. But man, I wouldn't change that year for anything because the growth that I had set me on a whole nother trajectory once I was able to come back. A setback is a setup for a comeback. I mean, those were literally the words that got me through that process, because I realized as I was in that moment, I was telling myself, this is going to be an amazing story that's going to inspire some other people. So I know I have to go through it right now, but I'm going to get through it. And so for me, it was a hard time, but it was a time that I look back on and cherish, because again, the person that came out of that struggle was not the same person that went into it.
Wow, that's great. So
Yeah.
you use your determination to determine your destination
Yeah.
during that year of struggle and learning. Like
Yeah.
you said, that was a learning process, and that set you up for where you are now.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And it's really great to be able to look back, because we're talking 2015, 2016. So it wasn't that long ago. And I can tell you, but all of a sudden, I made some decisions at the latter part of 2016 of switching my business and going all in once again on real estate. Because see, I'd been in real estate at that point 15 years in 2016, but I had never went 100% on real estate. But I told myself, okay, I've learned some really good technical skills in regards to sales. Let me take what I've learned over here for this business and apply it to my real estate business, and let's see what happens. 2017 was the biggest year that I'd ever had in real estate. I had some pretty decent years, but that was the biggest, probably by 70,000. And then 2018 was bigger. 2019 to date has been the biggest year that I've ever had. I was making money that in 2 months that it took me a year to make as a police officer, making a 6-figure income. Man. So yeah, so it was really, again, going through 2016. Honestly, I don't know that I would be in this place right now if I didn't experience 2016. So I was able to take, again, some valuable lessons and apply those things. And I can tell you, at no time did I ever feel like, why me? Why am I having to go through this? I knew there was something greater on the other side of it all.
That's great. And the fact that you understood that challenge was something that you didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
If you had taken it personally, it may have took you out the game.
Absolutely.
And so many times when people are looking to achieve things, especially outside of their comfort zone, like you said, you had that nice 6-figure income coming in as a police officer, and like you said, putting all the chips in on real estate was something you were hesitant to do. But once you did it, you went through that first year of trial and tribulation. You came out on the other side, and many times people try to totally avoid that. They want to have everything easy and don't realize that it's part of the process to go through that down period or that setback period, and you just have to push through and come out on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head with that. And I remember having conversations with other police officers, and I had this same mentality myself of, again, as a police officer, you got a pretty secure job. They're not going to stop needing the police. Yeah. And also from that standpoint, I had a guaranteed paycheck. And I remember a friend of mine saying, man, just as I was getting ready to make this decision to leave, he said to me, man, I cannot believe you're going to leave this guaranteed job to go out there and into the unknown and put it all up, for something that you're not sure of. But what stuck with me is guaranteed job. See, job is an acronym for just over broke.
Yeah. And
for me, what I heard was guaranteed to be just over broke. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, nah, I'm giving it up. You can have the guaranteed job. I don't want that in my life anymore. I'm going to put it in all on me, and we're going to run with it, because at that point with the personal development, I had enough belief in my abilities and my skills that I knew no matter what I set my mind to, I was going to succeed. I was going to find a way to be able to succeed with it. And that's really, what I've been able to experience.
Barry, is great that you mentioned the personal development work that you did, because it fortified you to be able to make that move. You know, when your coworker made that statement to you, especially like you said, just before you were getting ready to leave, that could mess with your head.
Yeah.
That could have messed with your head because he told you, hey man, this is guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
But you had done enough personal development work that you were willing to bet on yourself and step out of your comfort zone. Speak some more on how doing the personal development work can help someone go after what they want in life, be determined to live their dreams, and fortify them in times of, doubt or setbacks.
And the personal development work started for me in 2008. So leaving in 2013, it took 5 years of building and growth in regards to that for me to be able to get into a place. But I can tell you by 2010, I was already starting to formulate the thoughts of, man, I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm not retiring from this job. I got 21 years in. I needed 31 years to be able to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And that number always sounded so big and so far away. And I can tell you, when I started changing my thinking, I didn't worry about 31 anymore because I knew I wasn't going to get there. Mm-hmm. And so from that perspective, it was the personal development, listening to people like Les Brown, and when he would share the story of Roger Bannister and how everyone told him he would never run a 4-minute mile without without living through it. He would die, his heart would burst, and all these different things. It was just impossible to be able to run a 4-minute mile. And then he did it. And then within that year, several other people did it. And then I think, we have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that have run under a 4-minute mile. So it only took one, to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. You can say what you saying, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yep. And it was that type of mindset for me that really put me in a place of saying, you know what? Number one, I know other people that have left the job. I know some that came back, but maybe it was because they didn't have all the mindset and all the right things in place to keep them from having to come back. Because I also knew people that had left the job that had highly successful careers in whatever they ended up doing. Mm-hmm. So I told myself, okay, I'm one that's never coming back. And even when I went through 2016, that was a moment, once again, friends, family coming to me, you can go back to that job. You left on good terms. You can get a job doing that anywhere. That was never a thought, never crossed my mind. It was, at that point, I always tell people that I had become psychologically unemployable. I couldn't hold a job. I used to break out in hives when someone would mention that. So, I knew that was not going to be the step in the direction for me at that point.
That's great, man. That's great that you made it through the storm. You determined to determine your destination. And it's great that, where you're at now. Matter of fact, tell us where you're at now. Tell us about what you have going on in the world of Barry Overton.
All right. And before I do that, I do want to touch on, because it sounds like I'm bad mouthing jobs, and I'm not. I want people to understand I had a job that treated me and my family very well for quite a few years. But the difference was there was this burning desire inside of me that said, man, you got more to offer to the world. There's more in you, and you are not fulfilling your dreams. You're not living in your purpose and your calling. And I had to start listening to that voice on the inside. We often say that when we pray, our prayers to God is our ability to speak to him, but he speaks to us through our intuition. And that was God speaking to me and telling me that I needed to move on to something else. So I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm talking bad about jobs, but for me, it was not where I needed to be at. And where we're at now, man, there's so many different things going on. The real estate has been, once again, just amazing. Even in this tumultuous year that we've experienced with COVID and so many people losing jobs and houses and things of that nature. I've been truly blessed in this area of real estate. Just released my first book, Ignite Your Greatness. And it's really sharing the secrets of how to light that fire within inside of you that I found in myself. It's available at igniteyourgreatness.com, which is right there by my name, and on Amazon. And really just excited. That's opened so many doors. Sid and I both, have been able to learn from, I call him the maestro of speaking, Mr. Les Brown, which is, again, just opened so many doors, so many opportunities. Already, I got my first speaking engagement for 2021 is already on the books. Mm-hmm. My spiritual mentor is a gentleman named Billy Allsbrooks. I'll be speaking with him in Miami in January. And we have quite a few other dates that I'm going to be jumping on board. He has 25 all together, I think, in 2021. And I'll be jumping on some of those to open up for him. So really just an exciting time of the year. Going to be starting my own podcast as well in January. So 2021 has some great things in store. Really excited for the direction everything is going right now.
Oh, that's great, man. And you hooked up with Billy Allsbrooks. I like him.
Oh, yeah, he's phenomenal. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, I wrote a chapter about him. I interviewed him for my book. And when I went up, he was on tour in 2019, went up to Chicago and interviewed him there. And we stayed connected ever since then. I mean, amazing guy, just truly a heart of gold.
Yeah, I love listening to him.
Yeah.
Now, on your book, Ignite Your Greatness. So tell us what prompted you to write this book. What was it inside of you that had you write this book?
A couple of things. Number one, it was sharing the story that I just shared. That's just a small piece of what's in the book. But again, I knew that when I was going through these challenges, that there was a reason for it. And it was for me to be able to tell that story to inspire and impact others. And Mark Twain has a quote that says, the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I can tell you, I went through probably about 46, 47 years of life trying to figure out the why. Yeah. And it came to me, and it came to me through the death of my brother, also in 2015. So I lost my brother in 2015. I lost my father in 2016. And I had the worst financial year of my life in 2016. So you could see I was going through it, but it was the lessons. It was the things that came to me during my toughest times that really sparked this book, because I realized that for me to, again, that determination that I needed to have to be able to rise and get back on my feet, it was going to take, a will that I had never experienced for myself before. And a part of it was, again, keeping that burning desire inside. And when I talk about Ignite Your Greatness, one of the things that is important to me for everyone to understand is we all have greatness inside of us. We've heard the term, there's greatness in you. And I can tell you, when I started my personal development journey in 2008, I heard Les Brown saying there's greatness in you. It went in one ear and out the other. But right around 2010, it got stuck in there. And I started having conversations with myself. Is there greatness in me? What does that greatness look like? How do I bring it out to the world, to bring it out to the surface? And I realized, okay, I have some special gifts and talents that God just gave to me. And that's where I need to hone my craft and become better. That's where my greatness lies. That's where I will have inspiration to other people. And the beauty of it is we all have gifts and talents that we can bring out to the world and bring to the surface that will inspire the masses. And that's truly what greatness is. Kobe Bryant said that when someone asked him, what's the definition of greatness for you? And it was as simple as this. He said, it's your ability to take your gifts and inspire others to tap into their own gifts. And when I understood that, okay, while he could play basketball, amazingly well, that was truly not his gift. His gift was his creativity and his ability to have, once again, determination. Because when you look at his childhood and see how focused he was on making it to the NBA, he took that same talent to when he retired from basketball, and within a year of winning an Oscar, 2 different areas. But again, it's not about the basketball talent. It's about this gifts and talents of his creativity and the burning desire and his ability, his will to push forward and be successful in whatever it is that he's doing. And so with the book, we really dive into the first part of the book. I give you the theory of greatness. I prove to each and every person that reads it that there is greatness in them. And I do it from a science perspective. And then I also do it from a biblical perspective. There's so many scriptures that will tell you about your greatness. All we got to do is really absorb the information that we're listening to. The middle of the book really goes into, okay, now I have you believing in your greatness. Let me show you how to tap into it. And then the last part of the book is where I interview Billy Allsbrooks, and I interviewed some very successful people, all, different gender, different race, different business experiences, but all have tapped into their own greatness. And really, it's my pride and joy right now, other than my kids, of being able to put this book together, because I know that it's going to impact so many people's lives.
That is great, man, that you were able to put your thoughts and your experiences in that book, your heart and soul, so you can share it with other people.
Yeah. And it, and that's a part of the calling for me. It's not a monetary thing in regards to this book. It's really truly leaving. So what I found my purpose and my calling to be is service to others. And one thing that I learned, I served in the military for my country. As a police officer, I protected and served the community. As a real estate agent, I serve my clients in a way where, again, I don't worry about a commission. I worry about taking this first-time home buyer, or taking this person that's moving up to a new home, and giving them the best experience of purchasing a home that they could possibly have. So service to me is hugely important in everything that I've always done. And so I realized that, again, this book is a service to the world. It's something that I can leave behind and still hopefully impact so many other people. Just like Napoleon Hill. I read Think and Grow Rich, the first book that I read in 2008 on personal development. And he passed away in 1970. But here it is, 2008. I'm learning from him, and he's inspired me to take, again, when I talk about burning desire, those are his words. And that's the impact that we all have the ability to have on people by the life that we live and the legacy that we leave behind.
That's awesome, man. Yep. So as we get ready to wrap up, once again, tell everybody where they can contact you, how they can get your book, how they can find out more about what you're doing.
So you can get the book at igniteyourgreatness.com. You can reach out to me at barry@igniteyourgreatness.com. And again, look for me to be doing some tours as we try to get back to some normalcy in 2021. Look for me on some live stages, but definitely going to be doing some virtual speaking as well.
That's awesome. Barry, it's great having you.
It's great being here.
Everybody, please check out Barry's book, Ignite Your Greatness. This is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast. where we share stories of people who use the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination to overcome challenges and obstacles in their life. You can check me out on sidowsley.com as well as Sid Owsley on any social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you and have a great day.